Do you know what this is? This is a drum. Usually, people use such drums in their homes to store wheat, rice, and other grains. Some even use them as water tanks. These drums are generally kept in homes for storage purposes. But this time, something was stored inside that would truly boggle the mind. The police recovered a drum from this house. It was so heavy that no one could even move it. Inside, cement had been packed tightly, along with something else. At first, the police called some workers to break it open on site, but their efforts failed. Eventually, it was transported with great difficulty, taken to a mechanic, and broken open using large machines. Today, we are going to discuss an incident that is so full of twists and turns that it could be turned into a movie or a web series. Every aspect of the crime was meticulously planned, but in the end, it turned out that the very thing for which the entire conspiracy was orchestrated never actually existed. Hello friends, how are you all doing? Today we will talk about the Muskan Sorab case from Meerut, India. This story begins in Brahmpuri, a locality in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. In this area, specifically in Indiranagar, there was a house where a small family lived: Saurabh Rajput, his wife Muskan Rastogi, and their 6-year-old daughter. Sorab worked in London, employed at a bakery. Meanwhile, his wife Muskan and their daughter lived alone in a rented house. Muskan's parental home was just a few streets away, and Sorab also had a house in the same locality. However, he did not live with his family there because Muskan did not get along with her in-laws. At this time, Sorab was still in London, having been there for 2 years, away from his family. He started feeling that it had been too long and decided to take a few days off to visit his wife and daughter. The timing seemed perfect. February 25th, Muskan's birthday. February 28th, their daughter's birthday. It was the ideal opportunity to return home and celebrate with his family. On February 24th, 2025, Sorab arrived in India from England. The very next day, February 25th, he celebrated his wife Muskan's birthday. A video also surfaced in the news media, showing Saurabh, Muskan, and their daughter dancing together, seemingly happy and enjoying the moment. According to media reports, Muskan's grandfather was an astrologer who lived in Gauripura, Brahmpuri. This dates back to 2016, when Muskan frequently visited her grandfather's house. Many people used to visit him for astrological advice, including Saurabh's mother. This is how Sorab and Muskan first met in 2016. At that time, Sorab was working in the merchant navy. His father was a retired petroleum officer. Sorab came from a well-off family. They had property worth crores and a well-established household. His siblings were also well-educated and employed. On the other hand, Muskan had failed her 9th grade exams and dropped out of school. However, she had a strong interest in modeling and acting. Her father owned a jewelry shop at the front of their house. Besides her parents, she had siblings who helped in the family business. Eventually, love blossomed between Muskan and Sorab, and their relationship reached the point of marriage. However, both families opposed their union. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't convince their parents. Left with no choice, they eloped and had a court marriage against their family's wishes. Although Muskan's family eventually accepted Sorab as their son-in-law, Sorab's family never accepted Muskan as their daughter-in-law. Despite everything, Sorab and his wife continued to live at Sorab's house. Sorab worked in the merchant navy, which required him to be away from home for long periods. He would get only a few months off in an entire year. Because of this, he was unable to spend time with his wife. To address this issue, he decided to leave his job in the merchant navy and stay at home. His family was already unhappy about his marriage, and on top of that, he left his job and started staying at home. This made his family even angrier. As for Muskan, she was already not on good terms with her in-laws. Arguments would frequently arise over various matters. She would wake up late, not contribute to household chores, and preferred living on her own terms. Gradually, Sorab also started having disputes with his family. The conflicts escalated to the point where he decided to leave his house with his wife. They moved to a rented apartment in Indiranagar. According to some media reports, his family had disowned him due to constant disagreements. Later in 2019, happiness entered Saurabh and Muskan's lives with the birth of their daughter. Sorab shared a good relationship with Muskan's family, and after the birth of their daughter, his relationship with his own family also started improving. He began talking to his mother, brother, and sister over the phone, but his wife had no special bond with them. Coming to recent events, on February 25th, Sorab celebrated his wife's birthday, and on February 28th, he celebrated his daughter's birthday with great enthusiasm. Muskan did not cook at home. Instead, she ordered food online. Some neighbors informed news media that food delivery agents visited their house 5 to 6 times a day. When Sorab returned home from London, he would visit his family house every evening to bring dinner. During the day, they ordered food from outside, but at night, they ate home-cooked meals. Around this time, their daughter had started school, and her exams were ongoing. Because of this, Sorab visited his family house daily in the evening to collect food. On March 1st, March 2nd, and March 3rd, he went to his family home to bring food. However, March 3rd was the last day he was seen alive. On this day, his daughter had an exam, so Muskan took her to school and then dropped her off at her maternal grandparents' house. This was not unusual, as Muskan often left her daughter with her grandparents, who took care of her. However, this time, when Muskan brought her daughter home, her parents were a little surprised. They asked why she had brought her there despite her ongoing exams. Muskan replied that she and her husband had planned a vacation to Shimla. Her parents were confused about how she could take the child on vacation in the middle of exams. Muskan assured them that she had spoken to the school and would arrange for her daughter to take the exam later. While Muskan informed her family about the trip, Sorab did not mention anything about it to his own family. On March 4th, his mother prepared and packed food, waiting for him to come and collect it. After waiting for a long time, when he did not show up, she called him, but he did not answer. Later, Sorab sent a message to his elder brother on WhatsApp, saying he wouldn't be able to come for food that day as he was out. March 4th passed in this manner. From March 5th onward, Sorab began posting WhatsApp status updates, sharing pictures of his trip. He posted images of the places he was visiting in Shimla and the hotels he was staying in. Initially, neither Sorab's family nor Muskan's family found anything unusual. They assumed the couple was simply enjoying a vacation together. Since Sorab had returned from abroad after a long time, they thought he was spending quality time with his wife. During this time, Sorab also chatted with his siblings. When they asked about his well-being, he responded via text messages. They also asked if he would come home for Holi, to which he replied that he was traveling and wouldn't be able to come. However, one thing that Sorab's family noticed was that in all the photos and statuses he shared, none of them included his own picture. It was his wife's, but he was only posting pictures of the hotels in the valleys of the mountains. Usually when people go on trips, they post their own pictures too, show them to others and send them. But here, Sorab was not doing that. Another thing was that when people tried to voice call Saurabh, he wouldn't pick up the phone. He would make some excuse. He would say he was at a party where there was a lot of noise and they wouldn't be able to hear him. Sometimes he would give some other excuse. However, he kept sending WhatsApp messages and replying to people. Days slowly passed like this. They had left for their trip on March 5th. Now on March 17th, Muskan called her mother. Actually, Muskan and her husband Sorab had run out of money. Muskan had Sorab's ATM card, but it wasn't working. Sorab had around 6 lakh in his account. Muskan called her mother and said, "We can't withdraw money from Sorab's account. What should we do?" Hearing this, Muskan's mother was a little surprised. She said, "Sorab is traveling with you, so why are you asking me? Ask him directly." Her mother found her words a little strange. She seemed worried about something and was speaking oddly. Anyway, after a short conversation, the call ended. That same night, March 17th, at around 10 p.m., Muskan returned to her rented house, but Sorab was not with her. The next day, March 18th at 12 p.m., Muskan made a video call to her maternal home. She said, "Let me talk to my daughter. It's been so long since I've seen her." When she was talking to her daughter on the video call, her mother saw her face. Her face looked different. Her mother asked, "What happened?" Muskan replied, "I will tell you when I come home." At 4 p.m. that evening, Muskan arrived at her maternal home. Her child was happy to see her mother, but where was her father? The family also asked her where their son-in-law was. Then Muskan told her parents a story. But he couldn't stay away from his daughter. He couldn't bear to see her sad. After much thought, he decided not to proceed with the divorce. The couple decided to compromise for their daughter's happiness and a better future. Muskan also assured Sorab that she would stay away from Sahil. Things returned to normal, and in 2023, Sorab moved back to London, where he started working in a bakery. According to Muskan's parents, they had suggested to Sorab that he cancel the rental house contract and ask Muskan to move back to her parents' house. They assured him it wouldn't be an issue. However, Muskan refused to do so, and Sorab, being madly in love with her, agreed to her decision. This man had given up everything for Muskan: his family, parents, wealth worth crores, and even his merchant navy job. He was blinded by his love for her, trusting her completely. Whatever she said, he would follow without question. Muskan knew that if she stayed at her parents' house, she wouldn't be able to meet her lover freely. But in a rented house, she lived alone, and no one could monitor her actions. Deep down, she had an ulterior motive. When Muskan's parents learned about the horrifying crime on the evening of March 18th, they were in disbelief. When she revealed that Saurabh's family had abandoned her, they questioned her aggressively. "If they had done this to you, why didn't you raise an alarm? Why didn't you inform us? Come to the police station and give a statement." Under pressure, Muskan broke down and confessed everything to her parents. She admitted that she, along with her lover Sahil, had planned and executed the murder. When Saurabh's family had not heard from him for days, they also filed a missing persons complaint at the police station. By March 18th, the police had detained Muskan Rastogi and Sahil Shukla for interrogation. The shocking truth unraveled as the couple narrated the entire story. After Sorab moved to London in 2023, Sahil and Muskan rekindled their affair and indulged in substance abuse together. Sahil, who was deeply superstitious, believed he could communicate with his deceased mother. He had a Snapchat account where he would send messages to himself, thinking they were from his mother, guiding him from beyond. Muskan, upon discovering this, saw an opportunity. She created a Snapchat account using her brother's number and started messaging Sahil, pretending to be his mother. She manipulated him, convincing him that his mother had returned from heaven and was speaking to him through messages. She used this method to control Sahil completely. Masquerading as his mother, she messaged Sahil, "Muskan is a good girl. Don't betray her. Listen to her. She is your destiny." Sahil, believing his mother approved of Muskan, became obsessed. He thought he could only prosper with Muskan in his life. Muskan even created fake accounts for her mother and brother, reinforcing the illusion that they too supported their relationship. Sahil, already a blind believer in spirits and black magic, was further misled. His addiction to drugs weakened his rationality. He was now convinced, for Muskan and me to be together, Sorab must be eliminated. Interestingly, they never used the term murder, but instead referred to it as sacrifice. By November 2024, they started planning the crime. Initially, they decided to mix sleeping pills in Saurabh's food and then stab him, later burying his body. They even sought advice from friends on how to dig a grave, disguising their queries by saying they needed to bury religious items. Their friends, suspicious of their strange questions, asked, "Why are you talking like this?" Soon they abandoned the burial plan and opted for a different approach. Meanwhile, they researched sedatives and sleeping pills on Google. In February 2025, Sorab called Muskan, excitedly informing her that he was coming to India to celebrate her and their daughter's birthday and Holi together. Muskan relayed this information to Sahil, and they decided this would be the perfect opportunity to execute their plan. Muskan cleverly acquired sleeping pills by visiting a doctor and pretending to suffer from anxiety and insomnia. She was prescribed some medicines, but she forged the prescription to include a strong sedative before purchasing them from a medical store. This way, the pharmacist suspected nothing. On February 22nd, Muskan bought 2 large knives for Rs. $800 from a shop in Sharda Road Market. When the shopkeeper questioned her, she casually replied, "I like my chicken cut into small pieces." Their original plan was to spike Saurabh's drink during the birthday party on February 25th, but he refused to drink alcohol that night, and their plan failed. They then chose March 3, a day when their daughter had an exam. After the exam, Muskan dropped her daughter at her maternal grandmother's house, lying that she was going out with her husband. That night, Sorab brought home his favorite dish, kofta. Unbeknownst to him, Muskan had laced it with sedatives. By 9:30 p.m., he fell into deep sleep. Muskan waited a few more hours for the drug to take full effect before calling Sahil at around midnight. When Sahil arrived, Sorab was still asleep in the bedroom. Sahil handed a knife to Muskan, instructing her the wife should be the one to sacrifice her husband. But Muskan hesitated. Sahil guided her, holding her hand over the knife as they stabbed Sorab together, 3 to 4 times in the chest. To muffle any noise, they had turned on the cooler beforehand. After the murder, they moved the body to the bathroom. Sahil severed Sorab's head and hands while Muskan packed them into plastic bags. She had also ordered 10 kilograms of bleach via Blinkit to clean the crime scene. By 3 a.m., the crime was complete. Terrified of being alone, Muskan called Sahil again and went to his house. The next morning, they returned to the crime scene with a new plan. Muskan bought a cement drum and bags of sand from different shops to avoid suspicion. Without bargaining, she paid 1/1100 for the drum, which raised the shopkeeper's eyebrows. They filled the drum with Saurabh's remains, sealed it with cement, and locked it inside the house. With Saurabh's savings of 80,000 to 84,000, they left for a vacation to Shimla, Manali, and Kasol, staying in different hotels. Muskan even used Saurabh's phone to post pictures and chat with his family to avoid suspicion. Some reports suggest that the couple got married at a temple during their trip. Their plan was to return once the cement dried and dispose of the drum. However, they ran out of money. On March 17th, Muskan contacted her mother trying to access Saurabh's bank account, which held 6 lakh, but failed. By the time they returned, Muskan had already confessed to her parents. The police recovered the cement drum and sent it for forensic examination, revealing that the crime had occurred 14 to 15 days prior. A search of Sahil's house uncovered eerie drawings of Lord Shiva and occult symbols. His room was filled with signs of black magic rituals. Both Muskan's and Sahil's families expressed outrage, with Sorab's mother accusing Muskan's parents of being involved in the crime. On March 19th, Sorab's body was handed over to his family for the last rites. Muskan's parents did not attend the funeral. When Muskan and Sahil were presented in court, angry lawyers attacked them, and the police had to protect them. In the end, they sacrificed everything for nothing but prison bars. This video ends here. Comment and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon for updates. See you in the next video. Thank you.